in cities ruled by corruption. Executed. Franchi in theaters now.
$7.7 million. That's what taxpayers spent on Egyptian safaris and Vegas parties for Chicago school bureaucrats while kids can't even read. But that's pocket change compared to what just happened in California. Gavin Newsom's own chief of staff just got indicted for a corruption scheme so massive, so brazen, it makes third world dictators look honest. Shell companies, fake jobs, luxury handbags, birthday trips costing more than most American makes in 3 years. The receipts are in and the indictments are absolutely real. You see, your tax dollars are being wasted. Okay? But more importantly, I guess you could really call it being stolen. When Chicago teachers blow millions on hot air balloons and safaris during a $734 million deficit, that's theft from your kids' education. California's political elite used campaign funds for $15,000 Chanel bags and $170,000 birthday parties. That's organized crime. These are not isolated incidents, though. This is how Democrat-run states operate. One-party rules equal unchecked corruption. No oversight and no consequences. Just an endless gravy train funded by you. Meanwhile, Mayor Brandon Johnson preaches hatred against Trump and whites and capitalism on podcasts, poisoning minds while his administration empties the treasury. This is what happens when accountability dies, when media covers for corruption and when voters stop paying attention. And as we wrap up 2025, it's time to slow down and reflect. If there's one thing that we've learned, it's that uncertainty isn't temporary, it's the world we live in now. Waiting for things to go back to normal isn't the plan, it's a gamble. For over a decade, my friends at Noble Gold Investments have helped Americans protect themselves and the people they love by diversifying their wealth with gold and silver. Now look, nobody knows what will happen in 2026, but one thing's for sure. In an uncertain world, real wealth isn't digital, it's physical, it's lasting, and it's yours. So before the year ends, take one smart step towards a safer future and visit nextnewsgold.com. It's linked below to get your free wealth protection kit. That's nextnewsgold.com. Don't leave your future to chance. And if you call that number on the screen, 877-646-5347, ask Colin over there how you can get the 10-ounce silver holiday coins with qualified accounts. Maybe you'll get it in time. You can drop them in those stockings this Christmas. Okay, so this is what's crazy. All right? The corruption, it runs deeper. It runs deeper than travel expenses. Dana Williamson didn't just steal. She built an empire. Consulting firms funneling money, shell companies hiding transfers, money from Xavier Becerra's dormant campaign flowing through fake employees, lobbyists, relatives on phantom payrolls. And when she joined Newsom's team, she handed the operation to a co-conspirator. The scheme continued from inside the governor's office. Meanwhile, Chicago's inspector general found 40% of luxury trips had zero approval, spending limits ignored, 600 employees partying in Vegas on taxpayer dimes while schools crumble. Here is Cron 4 News. At 3:45 p.m. when Dana Williamson, former chief of staff to California Governor Newsom, walked out of the federal courthouse in downtown Sacramento after pleading not guilty to federal corruption charges. This is the unedited media scrum as it happened.
Was her plea. Now, this is big news for someone who once held one of the most powerful jobs in Sacramento, and now we're just waiting on Williamson to leave the courthouse here. And actually, here she is live. Here we go, everybody, live on Cron 4. Ms. Williamson, live on Cron 4. Oops, sorry. Any comment?
Should other California officials and people involved in the government be concerned now with this investigation underway?
Do you have any comment, Ms. Williamson?
No, you guys can contact my attorney.
Do you have anything to say at all?
No, you guys can contact my attorney. That's typical. They all sound the same, too.
Comment, Ms. Williamson?
No, you guys can contact my attorney.
Do you have anything to say at all?
Ms. Williamson, do you have anything to say to Javier Becerra right now?
Have you been cooperating with prosecutors? Excuse me.
Ms. Williamson, you have nothing to say with the 23 counts against you.
Do you have your side of the story you would like to share with Cron 4 viewers? Do you have your side of the story you'd like to share with the viewers at home?
You guys can contact my attorney. Statement.
And Justine, we're watching this live. There you have Governor Gavin Newsom's former chief of staff getting into a car here outside of the federal courthouse in Sacramento. And there she goes. You can see it's a media scrum out here, Justine. This all happening live here on Cron 4. Again, that's Dana Williamson, former chief of staff to Governor Gavin Newsom. They're answering my question. She said if we could speak to her attorneys, that's how we will hear. But we should tell you that her attorneys earlier said they had no comment on this. And there you see the car driving away there as we're live here on Cron 4. Now, a little bit about this, Justine. Not guilty was...
Oh, man. This is bad news for Gavin Newsom. Former chief of staff indicted on federal public corruption charges, including conspiracy to commit wire fraud and bank fraud, serving as Newsom's top aide from 22 to 24, accused of helping funnel $225 million from dormant campaign accounts belonging to former HHS Secretary Xavier Becerra to Becerra's former chief of staff, Sean McCluskey. Becerra's running for California governor, too.
From a dormant Governor Gavin Newsom's former chief of staff has been arrested and is facing federal corruption charges. 4 other people, including former Secretary of Health and Human Services General Xavier Becerra's former chief of staff, also is charged. The indictment names Dana Williamson, who left the governor's office nearly a year ago. The 23-count indictment claims Williamson and 4 others conspired to divert $225,000 in funds from a dormant campaign account. Court documents also detail multiple false statements made to federal investigators and as well as obstruction of justice. Williamson is scheduled to make her initial appearance in federal court this afternoon. Governor Gavin Newsom's
she made her appearance, pled not guilty over in Chicago. The Illinois Republican Party posting this 8 hours ago. So why did Chicago Public Schools bankroll a teacher's $4,700 trip to a Hawaiian luxury resort, a suburban spa retreat for elementary school staff, and limo, not Uber services, to and from Chicago airports? Many folks can't even expense a ride share for a work event. Here is the front page editorial section. Chicago Tribune: spas, suites, safaris, and shopping. Who wouldn't want to work at CPS? Well, even Chicago Tribune editorial section getting in on the game. Oh, yeah. Gavin Newsom, Chicago, Illinois, California, both states, the worst of the worst. Chicago Contrarian says, listen to the message a Chicago mayor passes on to young Chicagoans. Hate Trump, hate Whitey, hate corporate America, hate the rich. Socialism, the path forward. If this is what Johnson utters in a podcast, imagine what poison he fed students in his classroom. But imagine what he says when he's not being recorded.
Right? I'll say it like this. So civil rights did not disrupt the rights of white people.
Yeah.
Even though, it was like, oh my God, if you give black people civil rights, our country's going to fall apart and white folks are going to lose everything. That didn't happen. It's the same thing with civil unions and gay marriage. It didn't end mine. Right? And so I think it's similarly with immigration. Like immigrants are not taking jobs from black folks. Corporate greed is. 300,000 black women lost their jobs because of Donald Trump, not because of immigrants. And so my view is this. It's like flow with me, Matt, since you're the only one in the that's saved here, all right?
Saved man.
It's like, Joseph, right, who, took care of his siblings when he reached the point of leadership. But the Bible also says that he was able to take care of the world as well. There's more than enough in this country for everyone. We saw the largest upward transfer of wealth to the ultra rich than any other time in the history of Chicago. $1 trillion. Half of it went to, 200,000 households. Right? You know what I'm saying?
$1 trillion.
And what did they do? Did they actually work? Did they actually produce something? I'm sure they probably did. Wealth transfer, my ass.
Going to a handful of people. And so, we have to draw our attention towards where the real threat is coming from. And it's these large corporations, these big tech companies that continue to disrupt our lives. I'll say it like this.
Large corporations and big tech companies. I'll bet you $1 million he's got an Apple iPhone in his wallet, and he shops at Walmart. And you know what I'm saying, right? The mainstream media has been lying about Trump for over a decade. Trump is the most lied about president in history. Don't believe the mainstream media ever. Remember this moment? Trump's trying to kill the fish in Japan.
He had compromised, edited a video to make it appear as though Trump impatiently dumped a box of fish food into the water in Japan. The full video showed Trump had simply followed the lead of Japan's prime minister.
Here we have this from the Wall Street apes on the CPS scandal rocking Chicago public schools. The Office of the Inspector General found they spent $7.7 million of taxpayer money on travel last year. Excessive spending on overnight trips for staff incursions to places like Egypt, Finland, and South Africa. What are those? Are those field trips?
CPS travel. Terrell, the new report from the Office of Inspector General points to what it calls questionable excessive spending on overnight trips for CPS employees, including staff excursions to places like Egypt, Finland, and South Africa. This morning, the oversight body Watchdog urging Chicago Public Schools to reform its travel policies after the Office of Inspector General found CPS travel expenditures surged to $7.7 million last year. That's more than double what the district spent 5 years prior before the pandemic. The report states CPS staffers repeatedly exceeded spending limits and expensed trips and activities without approval, including a professional development conference in Las Vegas that more than 600 employees attended between 2022 and 2024, spending more than $1.5 million in district dollars. Nearly 90% of attendees stayed in hotels exceeding CPS spending limits. The Watchdog group also found about 40% of all conference attendees traveled without receiving approval. This all while CPS faced a $734 million deficit this year before passing a $10.2 billion budget in August. CPS says the district takes the report findings seriously, saying in part, quote, effective October 29, CPS is restricting nearly all employee travel and has formed a travel review committee effective November 2025. Travel controls, transparency, and auditability will improve with the implementation of the new enterprise resource planning financial system that is currently underway. And
yeah. Arrests, maybe? Indictments, something, perhaps? No. Ben Bradley, Chicago Public Schools spending on travel has doubled since 2019. The staff trips included safaris, hot air balloon rides, and Vegas visits. Oh, my goodness. Gavin Newsom's former chief of staff, here's Steve Hilton, indicted for corruption. Democrat one-party rule is corrupt.
The Department of Justice. So we've just seen this massive corruption scandal break involving Gavin Newsom's former chief of staff, indicted by the Department of Justice on a whole range of corruption-related crimes. The thing about this is that it's not some isolated scandal involving one person. This is what you get after 15 years of one-party rule. These years of one-party rule by the Democrats, they've rotted our government from the inside out, because this arrogance has turned into complacency, entitlement, and corruption. They think they can get away with anything. The rules don't apply to them. They can do whatever they want and there's going to be no consequences. Gavin Newsom, unbelievably, is sticking up for this person. It is totally outrageous. This shows why it is time for change in California. That's why I'm running for governor, to end 15 years of corrupt Democrat rule. So we've just seen this massive corrupt.
Good luck to you. You've got a big job ahead of you. But I have a feeling that this bad news is only going to get worse. The case goes deeper.
Money from Breaking this afternoon, a former aide to Governor Newsom has been indicted on federal charges accused of stealing campaign money from Javier Becerra. Dana Williamson appeared in court today in Sacramento and pleaded not guilty to all charges. Becerra was California's attorney general before being appointed health secretary by former President Biden. The indictment also lists 4 other accomplices. The governor released a statement saying in part he expects all public servants to uphold the highest standards of integrity.
Yeah, like going to the French Laundry during COVID. One day ago, Kevin Dalton writes, while Gavin Newsom is in Brazil criticizing President Trump's economic and climate policies, it's a good time to remind everyone that Gavin blamed his nearly $100 billion deficit on, checks notes, the weather.
On average. Can we explain to Californians how we moved from a $100 billion surplus to such a significant deficit in just a matter of a few years?
Well, it's, we can explain it. $349 billion of unprecedented capital gains.
That's Travis Gilmore asking a question. That's my buddy from the White House at the Epoch Times, dude. I know that voice. Yeah, baby, go.
Can we explain to...
He used to work as for the press pool in the governor's office. He's told me stories about it.
Californians how we moved from Can we explain to Californians how we moved from a $100 billion surplus to such a significant deficit in just a matter of a few years?
Well, it's, we can explain it. $349 billion of unprecedented capital gains, 11.6%, when traditional capital gains is around 5.18% on average. It's almost double. So you had massive volatility. You have requirements under Prop 2, the GAN. You have requirements under Prop 98, which require that set aside. We use 93% of our surplus, which is, I want to be careful.
Does anything he's saying make any sense? We have volatility, we had a surplus, we had a thing, we had a that, da-da-da. We move my hands around a lot and put some more gel in my hair, make me look nice, and I'll just talk like a guy, da-da-da. Okay. No, the highlight of my moment there was hearing Travis. You guys know Travis. He's been on the show. Oh, man. But you heard it. Steve Hilton, he nailed it. Democrat one-party rule is corrupt. Arrogance turned to complacency, turned to entitlement that rotted government from the inside. And while Newsom is attacking Trump's economic policies from Brazil, he's sitting on a $100 billion deficit he blames on the weather. His former chief of staff under federal indictment, his state bleeding residents, his party exposed as a criminal enterprise. This is Democrat governance stripped naked. And they're not even trying to hide it anymore. When school officials take safaris while classrooms lack books. When political staffers buy Chanel with campaign cash. When mayors preach socialism while practicing theft, the mask is completely off. This is not mismanagement. It's systematic looting. Chicago, California, they're not outliers. They are the Democrat model. One-party states become criminal enterprises because there's nobody left to stop them. The media won't investigate. The feds won't prosecute. The voters are too indoctrinated to care. Only outside pressure, like federal indictments, can actually break through. So here's the question. Should every government expense over $1,000 require public disclosure within 24 hours? Yes or no? Let's have a conversation. And if you're as disgusted as I am, grab some Next News gear from our shop and show them you're watching, because sunlight remains the best disinfectant, and these cockroaches just got exposed.